It's Your Life, Own It. My name is Marissa. I am your host, and I am the editor-in-chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. Taking center stage and owning it with me is my dear good friend, as well as the CEO and founder of Abundance Legacy. And taking center stage and owning it is Nathaniel X. Ross. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, yes. And so the last show we had, we were talking about your boot camp. And so before we dive in, I do want to show the video, but I wanted to share with our audience the importance for them to see the other session that we had. So make sure, audience, that you go back and you look on YouTube or Facebook and you check out our previous sessions, because there's a wealth of information that will help you to even dive in deeper into what we're going to be talking to you today about. And it's regarding Nathaniel's boot camp, right?
Yes. Yes.
So do you mind if we show them the video and then go into all that we're going to discuss?
No, that'll be great. Let's do that.
Perfect, perfect.
Have you noticed that all of your problems stem from the lack of financial security? Let me explain. Money is a tool that, if not used correctly, becomes the root cause of all problems. If you're noticing a pattern of health problems or even relationship problems, take a step back and ask yourself, is this because I'm not financially stable? If your answer to this is yes, this financial boot camp is for you. The Financial Bootcamp is a way for everyday people to live stress-free by eliminating the financial factor that plays a big role in your life. We want to enable people to make better financial decisions for themselves so that they can grow both as an individual in their household and as an individual in their community. But this task is not achieved alone. It takes support. Lucky for you, this financial bootcamp will equip you with an entire support group of people who will bounce ideas and solutions off each other to help each other make better financial decisions for themselves. The goal of this boot camp is to not only improve your financial situation, but to also improve your spirituality, health, relationships, career, community, and education, which is impacted by your finances. The way this works is that you would sign up and qualify for a 3-month program where you would meet with us once a week for 2 hours through a video conference. The program will guide you on how to get out of your debt situation, as well as be able to live with the income you're currently making and still have the ability to put some income aside for investment purposes. Please check us out, abundancelegacy.org, to register.
I listened to this video, it puts me in remembrance of when I first started out with my life as an adult, right? We talk about the strain that not having your financial house has on yourself, as well as your relationships. And I started off very young being married. And one of the biggest strains that we had on creating a successful marriage was the strain of our finances, and just both of us being ignorant, when it came to money, because we weren't taught money management growing up. And, I always refer back to what are the conversations we're having inside our family environments, right? Whether it's at the dinner table, whether it's taking the kids somewhere, we're riding all in the car as a family. Where is our focus in these conversations that are needed to start our lives off right? And so when we don't have a good start and there's no shift or change as we are aging, getting older, there's no shift or there's no recovery, we're still in that strain financially. And so talk about how talk about your organization and how it helps with shifting that.
Well, it's real simple, but yet it's complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
The simplicity of it is change your financial situation, and things will change in all the other areas. The complexity to it is you got to change your mindset, and you got to change your behaviors. And what a lot of people don't realize is that your mind knows you better than you know yourself. So that's who your enemy is. Your enemy is yourself. And when you say I want to grow, I want to learn, I want to do something different, I want to change my financial situation, you're now talking about changing your mind. And your mind is like, hell no, I like me and I like where I am. So you're now putting a gun up to your mind and saying, I'm going to change you. And your mind is like, okay, I'm going to do any and everything to let you think you're going to change me, but you're not going to change me because I know where your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
So that's the real battle that goes on, is you saying, yeah, I'm going to change because I want to see this new result. I want to see this outcome. And your mind knowing how, when you're, where to tap into your weaknesses. Oh, he's lazy. I know if I do this, this will happen. Or let's get in a situation where we're going to distract them by watching TV and movies, and your mind will set up things that's going to take you unconsciously to where it wants to go because it likes who it is.
Right.
You're the one that want to change. Your mind doesn't. So that's the big struggle. And if you can get through that, the rest of it is a piece of cake.
Yeah. You said something very important. It's like you said, simple but complicated. And what I think has to happen, I know for me, and the reason why I use myself as an example is because I know that there's truth in what I'm saying. And so I know for me, when I set a goal, and the goal is not something that's easily achievable, and there's some habits that I have of my own, I know I have to get really sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I have to have that conversation with self to say, you want to stay here, you want to go, and if you don't want to stay here, then you have to do the drastic changes that are required in order for you to make the advancement or to achieve the goal. And so self-regulation is very key here, is doing the introspective work that's required in order for you to change your mind and change your behavioral habits. And the behavioral habits are just what you said. It's like, I want this, not necessarily that I need this. And so we talked about we showed the video on the boot camp. What are some of the expectations that they can have? I know we talked about one. You said that the boot camp starts September 7th, and that it is a 3-month program. Said that there's no tolerance for slack. That you have to want this. You have to really, really want this. And so you said it's 3 months. It's on Thursday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. And one of the things that they have to do to begin this process is to ask. And for you, audience, if you look at the ticker tape below, you see the website. So you can go on the website, and I guess they can register at the website.
They can, yes.
Yeah.
Or so just send me an email.
Yeah. So you have the email there as well. And also in addition to this boot camp, is about community. So I noticed that in the video, it talks about career, community, education. And so in order for you to change this behavior, it's still like, even with a child, it takes a village for all of us. We have to have a support group that's there to help us through the difficult times. And you have so many of these resources in place already, so that it guarantees, as long as the person shows up, it guarantees that they'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they'll begin to see the results of the financial freedom that you're telling them is available to them.
Yeah, because yes, and all of the finances show up in every aspect of our lives. So if you're a spiritual person and you give to the church or synagogue or whatever it is that you believe in, that's money,
Yep.
right? and you need to understand the laws around that money. If you're in terms of your health, it's expensive to be healthy, and you got to be financially intelligent in order to navigate through the health system, right? Um, with your family and your family and your relationships, it's all based on finances. You got to take care and provide. Um, so finances is impacting every area of your life. Your career, are you making the kind of money that you want to be making or should be making? The being in the community, are you making donations to help uh, other people out? Are you spending, how much money are you spending to educate yourself so that you're not staying at status quo or falling behind? So money shows up in every aspect of your life. So if you get your money straight, a lot of that other stuff is going to kind of level itself out. Yes.
Mhm.
Now, I don't want people to confuse that with being greedy and trying to go out and make $1 million in 2 weeks. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
We're talking about understanding the fundamentals of money, where you currently are, and putting that foundation in place in order to sustain yourself and then to propel you forward.
Yeah, so this is the information that you really need to know very early on. You learn it now, but it's so when we are looking at it from the perspective of learning it now, it is for us to go back and begin to have these conversations with family members, with friends, those people who are willing to have the needful conversations. So that there can be change throughout the community, right? So it's not just you changing, it's about changing our the content of our conversations. Like I said earlier, it's like we're not having the needful conversations. You can hear about the latest sneakers, you can hear about the latest fashion, you can hear about the latest junk, but the laying of the foundation of understanding money and how money works, we're not setting that foundation, the groundwork for laying a foundation that's unshakable. And that's what you're talking about will happen in this boot camp experience, is that now you're understanding how this financial system works, and you're also finding out how you're showing up in this financial system, and then you're finding out how you're currently showing up, and then you're finding out how you want to show up, and doing the work to begin to get to a place where you can show up the way you truly want to show up and that you should be showing up.
And
That's what I love
we
about
show
what
both. We also show both sides of the coin, right? So, and I just had this conversation yesterday or either the day before. I have certified financial planners who work with me specifically to help women and to help people of color. They help anybody, but these folks are focusing on the women and people of color, and they do it at a discounted rate, but they're regulated and certified by or licensed by the state. So they will have a conversation with you as part of this boot camp of what you need to be doing. Whereas I will have a conversation with you around finances where I can say things that licensed person can't say, right? So there's two ways of looking at this. You can get wealthy by learning and being self-made and working up, learning the system and using the system to get there. And you can get wealthy by following the system that's regulated by the state. You want both points of view, or how do I get there and how do I get there faster?
Right.
So that's one of the things that we bring in the boot camp is we're going to have licensed professionals talking to you about what you need to do to be legal and right, and how you spend, invest, and manage your money. And then we're going to talk off the books about what's not being said, or what
Yeah.
you should be doing. Because most people, if we were to walk on the street and say to someone, what is the bank for? Oh, the bank is there to help us so that we can take out loans, and we can have a savings account and a checking account. The bank is not there. And that's what the certified licensed person is going to tell you. You need to be part of the system, and you do need to be part of the system. But that's all they can talk to you about, is being part of the system and how that system works. But on the unlicensed side, I can tell you, that bank is not there to serve you. That bank is there to make money. And they're going to use you to make money any and every way that they possibly can. And we explain that in the boot camp. So once you understand, and this is where a lot of people get frustrated, they think they're playing by the rules, but they don't understand the rules. Because they're saying, here on this side, our system is saying, here are the rules. But there's a whole nother set of rules over here that's not being shared. And if nobody shares that with you, you're behind the 8 ball, and chances up you're going to come out short.
Wow, that's the difference between working with just a boot camp and working with your boot camp and with your experience. So share a little bit about your story. We're talking about the boot camp, but give these particular viewers that are listening to this particular show, give them a little insight as to why you can talk from this level of authority in regards to, compliance and some of the rules that are behind the scenes. So talk to them a little bit about who you are and a bit about your background.
Okay, so I was born in the 60s in Baltimore City, in poverty, in the ghetto, and we were dirt poor. And because of different circumstances and situations, and the decisions that I made at different crossroads, I was able to get into college with the grace and help of other people. And going to college, I got that formal education, but being on the streets, I got the informal education. And then after graduating college, I went into higher education. I worked as an administrator at higher education, again, learning that formal side of things. And then as an entrepreneur, because I always dabbled in something, I'm learning the entrepreneur side of things, and I'm now comparing higher education versus informal education. And then, I moved out of higher education into corporate America. I was an executive for a Fortune 400 company. I'm looking at how corporations run, what the rules, the regulations are within running a Fortune 400 corporation. And then I'm looking at what it took to get from $0 to multi-million dollars from the street side. And I'm not talking about doing anything illegal, just the hustle and grind of being an entrepreneur. And then when you start to make the comparisons, they're two different worlds. There's two different systems. Mm-hmm. And but yet you got to know when to merge the two together in order to get the success result that you're looking for. As an entrepreneur, at some point, you gotta understand how the corporate world works if you're going to be successful, right? And people say, well, on the corporate side, you got to understand entrepreneurship, because every company that's out there that's part of that Fortune 400 or 500, they started out as a small company. They started out as entrepreneurs. So it's you get the best of both worlds, and going through the boot camp. And one of the things that I worked really hard at when I was in my 20s, like, how do I become a millionaire? How do I become a multimillionaire? And I went out and I was able to do it. And I did it from the entrepreneurial side of things, right? And then in the corporate side of things, I was an executive making that 6-figure income salary and moving up the corporate ladder. So I got the education both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I talk to you, when I specifically put this boot camp together, it's like, how do I put the camp together so you get the best of both worlds? Because you can do one or you can do the other, but you're going to need both.
You're gonna need both.
You're going to need both.
And what's beautiful about your experience is the connectivity to someone who does not have and to someone who doesn't know how to have, because you have that direct experience. So that's why it's so different when, depending on who's delivering or facilitating the training and development, the coaching, because when you have a deeper connection with the experience of the trainee or the coachee, there's more understanding of how to transition the mindset, the transition, the even in the transferable behavioral aspect of it. So that's why I said, let me go into, as you introduced your experience, was like, let's dive into this a little deeper in regards to what inspired you to or gave you the audacity to think that you can design or create a boot camp like this, and to know that the people can actually do the transferring work, the transformational work that's required for them to do it. Because when you can't relate to the people, sometimes it's more challenging to get it across to them that they can do it. You can change your mindset. You can change your behavioral outcomes. You can do it if you desire to do it. It's not going to be easy. It is a process, but you got to be so hungry for this change, and for the results that come from the change in order for you to consistently show up. So, as we're closing out, in our last session, we talked about we talked about the requirement. What was the requirement? So you said they had to ask. And then you also said that they had to follow you. So talk to this audience, because every audience may be different. Talk to this audience and re-emphasize where they need to show up in following and getting the resources and information that are not necessarily always inside the boot camp experience.
So people need to show up in social media, because I'm constantly posting information out there, food for thought. So you can see what those thought-provoking things are that I'm putting out there. I do a weekly podcast with my partner Jessica, Real Choices, Real Life, and we get into some pretty heavy discussions. And it's not all financial; it's across the spectrum holistically. But we do get into the discussion of finances. And like I said before, finances is in every area of your life. So you'll see those connections take place in the podcast conversations that we have. And then in the support groups that we have on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, participating in those groups, because you can ask questions and get real life answers on the spot, because you got the attention and the time. So let me put this out there too, because I want people to really understand the value that you're getting here. Most people know Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins. They all went through the Accelerated Business School for Entrepreneurs. I went through the same school that they did. I learned the information and I asked, what are you guys going to do to help the average person? And they said, nothing. What are you going to do? So this is me doing it. I am bringing to you information that the average person that's getting this stuff they have to fly to another country. I think the only place you can do it here in California, you got to fly to another country. You got to put yourself up for 4 or 5 days. You got to, in a hotel, you got to buy food. Then you got to pay for the curriculum. And it's easily anywhere from 6 to 10 grand to do it. I don't think that we should have education with that big of a financial gap that's keeping people from getting it. Now we're bringing it to you through Abundance Legacy, and we're bringing it to you free of charge, just for following and learning and helping you to remove the excuses. Now, if you don't take advantage of that, shame on you. That's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and that's where it has to be, because we have to, especially if you are hearing this, if you're seeing this, if you don't see the videos, you don't see, okay, you didn't get access to the information. But if you're looking at the video, you're seeing this interview, and it's free. Then it's not free, it's free money-wise. But the commitment, the self-commitment, the self-regulation, it's coming with a price. It comes with a price. But the ROI on that price, the return on your investment on that price, is to have peace of mind. Peace of mind financially, peace of mind, like the video said, in relationships. Because like you tapped into, when you want to love on your family, yeah, your love comes without a price. But you still have to spend money. Went to go see my nephew. I had to spend money to go to be a part of his vow renewal. Whether I gave him a gift or I did not give him a gift, the cost of the car rental, the cost of the gas, the cost of me having time with him and not working, the cost of the hotel, right? Any activities we did that were outside of the scope of all-inclusive, that had to be paid. So you still, no matter how small the physical gift that you give, you're showing up physically, costs you money. And so by participating in a boot camp like this, and doing the necessary sacrifice and commitment for a set time, will set you up for life. And to learn the principles that govern managing your money successfully is priceless and should be passed on as traditional with your family, your friends, anyone in your circle. You should be grabbing them and saying, hey, this is what I learned. And you should be sending them to the boot camp, or you should be mastering this boot camp so much that you're able to show them yourself. And so that's what this is all about. Abundance Legacy is about legacy. It's about generations and lineage and family and community. And so that's why these conversations that we have are priceless, is because we don't have a hidden agenda other than to see you own your life in all areas, in all aspects of your life, to see you own it and to see you free, unleashed, free, and flourishing, and really, really flourishing. And so with that being said, I'm looking forward to our next session together, where we're going to be talking about how you coach people in the area of their life. And that's very important for how they show up in this boot camp, because yeah. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, down on this ticker tape, everything is here. The website, the email, how to get in touch. You see his name, Nathaniel X. Ross. If you Google him, you can follow him just that way. You heard about the podcast, so there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting and staying connected, and you shouldn't be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with your finances. So with that being said, we'll see you the next session, and our next session up, gotta look for it. It's about his life coaching program. So we love you, and we are out.